Endorphins are neuropeptides from the hypothalamus and pituitary gland. They cross the blood-brain barrier and head into the opioid receptors to block pain and create feelings of euphoria. And if anything I said resonates inside your head, then tune on in to the Endorphin Report.
Welcome to the Endorphin Report. I'm Daniel.
I'm Cynthia.
So I felt like we should introduce ourselves a little bit more and not just assume everybody knows who we are. So I'm Daniel Saunders. I'm Paul Saunders' brother. That's my only claim to be doing this podcast. And this is Cynthia.
I am your ex-roommate.
That's right.
That's my claim to fame.
Many years ago. She's a nurse practitioner in Boston, where we both are. Other than that, our only qualification is that we like rom-coms, and especially Cynthia likes rom-coms.
I think I introduced you to the idea of liking rom-coms when I lived with you. I don't think they probably registered in your mind prior to that.
Well, I certainly have seen a lot more since meeting you than in my life before that.
Yes, I definitely think I've had that impact on your life.
And you're my ear to the ground, like what's going on in the world of rom-coms, what's worth seeing.
Finger on the pulse.
Yeah. And especially Christmas rom-coms, which we're about to get into on this podcast. Yep. The reason for you being so drawn to rom-coms is endorphins.
Yes. Just the happy feelings I get, which I used to look exclusively from good, well-done rom-coms. But then I realized there was value in bad ones as well.
And you also ran out of them, too, probably.
I really did. There's not that many. So you just got to scrounge for what you got. Yeah.
The movie we're doing today is The Merry Gentleman, a 2024 movie on Netflix starring Britt Robertson and Chad Michael Murray. That name rings a bell. Is he from something?
He was from One Tree Hill. He was in a bunch of like CW type shows and stuff. He was like a little cutie back then. And now he's like a 40-something cutie.
Right, which tends to happen with time being linear and so forth. First, I thought it might be fun to talk about holiday movies and do a Christmas recap.
Ooh.
We both have watched a lot of Christmas movies that are rom-coms this year, and I thought we could talk about some of those before we get into The Merry Gentleman.
We're hitting our December time, how we spent it.
We're recording this in January, so the Christmas feeling is basically gone.
Yeah, well, my tree's still up, but...
Yeah, so is mine.
Yeah.
But we definitely had a very active season. So talk about some of the movies you saw and what you thought of them.
Yes. So one was actually one that you watched yourself on Hallmark and then recommended to me to watch.
I did.
Look at you. Look what I've done to you.
It's true.
So it was the One Royal Christmas, which had Broadway stars, including, I'm going to say his last name wrong, so you say his name.
Aaron Tveit, I believe it's pronounced.
He's a Broadway star, and he is Prince of the country of Galwick. He goes to Connecticut for something. He gets stranded, meets a woman at Dunkin' Donuts. They meet. They have to hang out. He's stranded with her in the house, like the usual. Fall in love. That stuff. It was entertaining. I actually thought, because I don't know, because I liked him and I like him as a Broadway star, I was easily swayed. And I was willing to forgive some of the silly things. But I mean, I thought they actually had actual emotion. They were like one step better than the normal acting.
Oh, I'm glad.
And then you saw it as well. So what were your feelings on it?
I did, and I really had a great time with it. I love seeing those Broadway stars. Aaron Tveit is a huge favorite of mine, and it also is full of tons of others of which I've seen on stage, like Victoria Clark.
I did not know one of them, but I definitely knew 100% she was a Broadway star when they started singing A Christmas Carol, and her voice belted out like kablamo. So I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely one. And I got to go down a rabbit hole of finding out that there is a gaudy-ass castle that exists in Connecticut.
Okay, so to me, that was a cut above for sure.
A cut above, unexpected.
What else did you see, and how do you rank them?
Okay. We have A Biltmore Christmas. It's about a old-timey 1940s movie that is being remade. This woman is rewriting the movie, and so she is trying to get inspiration from it, and it was a love story, and she's kind of like boo on love, and she gets put back into when they're filming it, and it's in this Biltmore mansion, and she ends up going back in time at variable times falling in love with one of the lead actors, who then, spoiler, comes into the future to be with her forever.
What?
Yeah.
But
and
you have strong opinions about time travel romance.
Oh, so much. So, yeah. And the funny thing is, because this is built more Christmas, this is a really old-timey 1940s movie. I was like, this should be called something like A White Christmas, because this is the whitest Christmas cast I have seen of this whole season. It was pure white actors. I was like, damn.
That's not good. Okay. What else?
Heidelberg Christmas, where a American woman goes to the Heidelberg in Germany Christmas market to sell her ornaments, which is a big deal because her family originally is from Heidelberg. And she meets the friendliest Germans in the world and nicest family ever there.
Okay, Germans are friendly.
They are friendly. It is true. This is the more societally, they're a little bit more reserved at first as a society. And here, these people are the friendliest people ever. So even by American standards, they are super friendly. Mm-hmm. And I actually talked to other people. Multiple people I know really enjoyed this unironically, because this is just sweet. And if you were in part of this family, nobody would ever have any trauma. Like, it is the nicest family. Everybody's happy. And it's actually filmed in Heidelberg with like a real castle there. And it's like real. It's not just like, the gazebo, as they always do in Connecticut. Or Canada. It's like,
Yeah, so how about endorphin moments?
I thought it was really sweet. It's like you're drinking a cup of cocoa. It was very nice. Nothing like high endorphins where you're like, oh my God. But like drinking a cup of cocoa endorphins.
Okay, any quick shots? We want to go down the list if there's more.
Oh, I saw Single All the Way. I enjoyed that. I texted you about that. Single All the Way, very sweet. Came out, I think, a year ago or last year. Very enjoyable.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that's probably my favorite LGBT-themed Christmas rom-com so far.
Yes. I thought it was really enjoyable, really sweet, really liked it.
And yeah, Michael Urie is in it. And
yes,
it could not have a better supporting cast. It's got Jennifer Coolidge doing funny stuff.
Yeah. Many good funny lines.
It's funny. It's sweet.
Yeah. Really enjoyable. Really loved it.
So the two lesbian ones, well, three, but the two cheap ones that I saw were Friends and Family Christmas and A Holiday I Do. And they're both were not great, but fairly sweet. The thing that they had in common was that they both had these families that were incredibly overbearing, that were determined to meddle and get people set up, hooked up.
Yep, that's a big theme, or at least that was in Single All the Way. That was a big theme of meddling, and people must be in a committed monogamous relationship for a family to settle and be happy. That is a very big theme.
Right, and I guess it's sweet in the sense that they're not homophobic. They go so far in the other direction as to be obsessed with their child dating someone of the same sex.
Yeah.
And getting into a stable long-term relationship. They both had that. Friends and Family Christmas took place in the city, which was clearly Vancouver, but it was supposed to be Brooklyn. And it was a photographer and a high-powered lawyer. And they had to pretend to be going together to get their family off their back. And guess what happened? They actually fall in love. So that was that. Yeah, Stanley Park stood in for Brooklyn Park and stuff like that. And it was kind of sweet, but also very boring.
Yeah. Some of these things are just like, they either default on just slightly boring, not bad, just kind of boring, or just low budget, which many are. So, And
slightly better was A Holiday I Do, which is set at a ranch that's in danger of being sold, but where they dated in high school, and then one went off to Broadway, and they haven't been in touch for 3 years, and now she's coming back. One of them is actually fairly butch, which is cool to see. This one had the family literally sneaking around with walkie-talkies, trying to coordinate them getting back together, and I'm like, you don't know why they broke up. Like,
yeah, this is too much.
Yeah. You're determined to get these two back together in their hometown. And by the way, yeah, in this case, it's a hometown hottie versus big city person, and the career was a real obstacle, but it was so cheap that they didn't have money for fake snow. So it's the first Christmas rom-com I've seen where it's just grass.
You mean they're addressing global warming?
Right. Exactly. We also saw Carol, the big prestige movie with Cate Blanchett.
That is not a rom-com.
It is not.
That is not a rom-com. Take that off your list. That is not a rom-com.
I'll take it off my list. I just
if
wanted
it has
to say,
drum, it's not a rom-com.
But it does have endorphins, at least for me.
Oh, yes, but it is not rom-com.
Yeah. I'll say, maybe it doesn't belong on the podcast, but it does have endorphins in the sense of, like, intense looks, intense flirting.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
When Cate Blanchett said, "Will you move in with me?" and then they leave, and then they come back together. It's very intense.
Yeah, you saw endorphins, but that's not going to be in the romantic comedy section of Netflix.
I gotcha. Okay, so that's all of mine. It's been a very rom-com heavy Christmas. But great. Let's turn to the one that I have not seen at all.
Okay,
which is The Merry Gentleman, and talk about the plot. And then after that, we'll talk about some other segments like The Next Day, Will They Make It, things like that. Who could do better? And then give the Endorphin Report. So take us away with the plot.
All right. So as we said, we got Britt Robertson. We got Chad Michael Murray, just to set the picture. Britt Robertson's a blonde, probably 40-year-old female who is basically probably what we'd consider a Rockette. But it's called the Jingle Bells, but she's basically a Rockette. And They show her dancing as a Rockette and also realizing that she is on the older side of being a Rockette because they introduce her to a young thing. And basically mid-season of the Christmas season, it's probably, I don't know, like a month that they do Rockettes. They go, we always like to shake things up, new faces, and they basically, from ageism, they're just like, please leave. Mid-season, they decide to make a cast change.
That's messed up.
She says basically like she's always been too busy in her past to either be home at Christmas or date at all, and has always taken over her entire life. And you're like, isn't this a seasonal thing? So I don't know what she's doing the rest of the year, but basically she makes it out that this has taken over her entire life year round.
She's resting the other 11 months.
Yes.
Resting up.
She's just in a hibernation thing to keep her muscles in good shape.
So she didn't see this coming. She didn't have a backup plan.
Nothing. They just say, it's just literally mid-season. Who replaces their star, who's literally on the front of the program mid-season, unless something bad is going on?
So she's a star Rockette?
She's literally the center Rockette. The center. So she's been a city girl, and then she's going to her hometown, which is, I don't remember, Syracuse Creek or something, and picture like Michigan or something. She's going home to her family there. She literally is a dancer with amazing dance skills, but still is somehow clumsy enough to bump into a hot handyman and gets caught up with him and falls.
So situational gracefulness.
Yes. And so when hot men come, her neurological skills fail.
That's probably evolution.
I mean, wouldn't you want to be like showing them that you're very genetically amazing? Wouldn't you want to not just be like, look at my deficits, I can barely walk when I'm around you? That doesn't seem evolutionarily great.
I guess so. But if you fall right into his lap, that helps to propagate the species.
I suppose so, yeah. So just always have a banana peel in your pocket. Just make it situational. So she goes home, and her family has a club, kind of like bar, band place, booking bands and music and such. And they are struggling because a lot of music groups don't want to play at a venue that size. So they used to be a big thing, and now they're kind of struggling. And so she's there, and the owner of the club, because the owner rents it out to them, the owner comes by and mentions that they're like $30,000 in debt. It's December, but in January, I found to help your parents out. Basically, I think the equivalent of a Jamba Juice or something would like fill that space, which is kind of a weird space for a Jamba Juice to fill. And they're like, they'll pay all your back rent and take care of all the problems. Instead of consulting with her parents who are in their 60s about this possible helpful plan to them, she's like, no, I'm going to create a new show, and I'm going to save this place.
We'll put on a show.
Yeah.
We'll make our own lights.
She's with the hot handyman right there. And she is basically like, I'm going to make a male dance show. By the way, I watched this with my family, and when I saw that this was like sexy dance show, I read it out to my dad, and I was like, woman creates like sexy dance. I was basically summing up like a sexy dance show to save club. And he was like, oh. And then I was like, with men. And he goes, And I had zero worries about watching this with my dad being uncomfortable because it is rated PG. I'm like, there will be a shirt off at most.
It's not going to be the full Monty.
He also fell asleep, as predicted. So I was able to I was not worried 100% turning this on. I was like, not a problem.
It's not for people who would actually want to go to a club like this.
This is not a Magic Mike. This is not, yeah. I was just like, no, it's fine. It's so PG.
It's much less spicy than Magic Mike.
Definitely.
So the handyman, is that Chad Michael Murray?
Yes.
His name is Luke.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so Luke the handyman, she recruits him immediately, a bartender there, and then her brother-in-law to be dancers.
Mm-hmm.
And these three men immediately agree to dance every single night in a male show for the next, 2 or 3 weeks to help with a $30 cover women are paying to go in to watch them dance. So she trains them. So she teaches them to dance basically Magic Mike style and creates a show that they will perform every single night. Mm-hmm. And good for her, 2 of these guys have serious abs.
Uh-huh.
One of the guys, he was actually in the movie, the remake of Dirty Dancing. Did you see that?
I did see parts of that. It was pretty bad.
I saw it, and I remembered seeing him, and that in one of it, he's dancing with a girl.
Is he the Patrick Swayze character?
He is the Patrick Swayze. And he is, showing his abs, which are just too dehydrated and too abby. And now I recognize
abby.
the act. Too abby. Too much abs. I was like, this is not attainable. This is too much. And this is many years later, the actual actor is in this movie. And his abs went from being super cut, too much abs, to literally, they are like soda cans. Each ab is like a soda can on his abdomen. I was like, oh gosh, I'm worried for your health. So I continue to worry about the health of these guys who are supplementing and dehydrating themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys now, in steps of other movies like Hot Frosty, where they just have to be hot, these have to be hot and they have to dance.
Mm-hmm.
So she has created this show where every single night women pay $30. They come in, they watch these men do a 3-minute dance, take off their shirt, maybe throw out a necklace at them, and then the show is over, women keep drinking, and everything's great. And the show changes every single night in that sometimes they're cowboys, sometimes they're construction workers, sometimes they're Chippendales. So they learn a new routine every single night that's a 3-minute thing. And the women have no problem. Plenty of women are coming from small towns all over to watch a 3-minute dance of the guys who take their shirts off.
Okay, I guess this market is not oversaturated for that.
It is raking in the money. They are coming in.
And plus tips for the guys, right? Do they get...
I mean, I think the point is, no, they're not, it's not like a stripper, like they're throwing money. The point is, I think what the people are there, they're paying the cover, and then they're getting drinks.
I see.
And then they're there, they had a good time watching the 3-minute dance, and then now they're just having a ton of drinks.
Okay, so put yourself in that mindset. Say you're in a small town, not a lot to do, but you're yourself otherwise. Would you pay that $30? Would you drive to that place?
I would have to be pretty bored. I would do it as a fundraiser thing. That they're saying, please save
Charity.
this thing, please come. I would do it in a fundraiser with friends because I'm having a drink. I would not find a 3-minute show sufficient of $30.
Okay. As fundraisers go, though, it's pretty fun.
It would be if it's considered a fundraiser, but it's not. It's considered a legitimate show.
Some very good abs on display.
Yeah, men are doing the dancing, and these amateur dancers are doing really good. And then they recruit during this showtime 2 other dancers. They recruit one guy who's a taxi driver who seems to be a real professional dancer. So this helps increase the quality of the dances you're watching in the movie, is because they basically have 2 to 3 real professional dancers in there. And then they got a 60-year-old guy who's the bar regular who just sits there all day, who also then joins it suddenly too.
Uh-huh.
So
they're doing elaborate routines. Not a lot of hip thrusting, probably.
Some hip thrusting, ripping the shirt off.
Okay.
The very most that happens is the guy lowers his pants and you see his underwear, which says something like naughty elf or something like that. But there's no G-strings. There's nothing else. Pants stay on the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So things are going well. They're getting money. They're trying to make $30K. They're getting closer to the thing. You would think, how do you make profit with having 4 dancers learn a routine every night and personalize outfits to them? But
right.
Maybe these guys are free. Maybe let's just call this full fundraiser month. We'll just call it fundraiser month. Mm-hmm. So she works with the handyman, Luke. He's pretty smitten pretty quickly with her. He gives her a necklace of a Christmas wreath, and he's like, thank you for coming into my life. He gives her seasonal jewelry, which is not a move I see very often. And
so this is the first mention of Christmas so far.
Yeah. Well, it's Christmas time this whole time. So, I mean, it's Christmas, December.
Right. But
Yeah.
it sounds like it's not that critical to the plot so far.
Well, we got the Rockettes. We got
that's true.
December. We got decorations. We got everything is Christmas decorated everywhere. So anyways, about Luke, his sad backstory is that he moved to this town with a girl from the city, and then she left him, and he's been sad until now, until he met the girl. Like many of these men who've been wronged by city girls, city girl is a
City
bad
girls.
word in this. So he's been hurting this whole time, but now he's finally getting happy again. He's dancing, he's learning new things, and he likes this girl. So things are turning around.
So he's blossoming as a dancer.
He is. And then he learned how to dance, and he danced with the girl, and then they kiss, and then she gets a phone call. And then you are going to guess what happens in the rest of the film and how it ends. You're going to bring it home and tell me how this movie ends.
The phone call is saying, we made a mistake. We need you as part of the Rockettes. We want you to come back and resume your incredible career of once-a-month employment. And she has to decide, do I stay in this bar and help to bring it back, or do I go back to the glamorous Rockette life? And he gets a little sad face about that. She actually goes so far as to get to the airport and almost get on the plane. And he's about to do his the last performance because they can't continue without her because she sews all the uniforms and teaches them the new routines. But they're about to do a very, very sad strip dance. And just then she shows up in the audience and he realizes she's chosen him and the merry gentleman. Then they give their horniest dance ever and everybody goes crazy. And the bar will be, in the epilogue, the bar is saved and they kiss. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I don't think it was probably too hard to guess, but well done. You've also been so well trained this season with watching rom-coms that you were bang on.
Yes.
It's really not that.
I've been training for this moment.
Yeah, it's really not that. This one is pretty damn predictable. So she is a 40-year-old dancer, let's say, of the Rockettes, which, very time-limited career at this point. She gets a call for a 25% raise, a 3-year contract guaranteed, which is like pretty amazing for a dancer.
Yeah.
And especially we know she's time limited. And then they say, we will fly you back first class tomorrow to do the Christmas Eve show. And she's like, tomorrow? But that's almost Christmas. And you're like, for a Christmas season show, you're surprised you have to go back
For Christmas.
for Christmas? Like, did you expect to be dancing in February for this? Like, I understand never being home for Christmas because you're like a Rockette. I understand that. That's something that you've probably been neglecting in your life is that. But like this, as I said, this is like seems like a month, maybe 2 months because maybe you have to do all the trainings and all of that. Maybe 2.5 months, who knows? But like not a full year round thing. But basically, if this has been consuming her, she gets a pretty good thing and then she thinks about it and then she accepts. And then she tells them, literally there's only a few days left of this show that her kind of fundraising show will say that she's been doing for the nightclub. And Luke, handyman, hot man, gets very sad and offended. And he calls her city girl, like an insult. He's just like, oh, you city girls.
That's a great rap group, though, City Girls. Anyway.
So then he's just like, you just leave me. I was falling for you. Like, you're here and you built this and now you're just leaving.
I oiled my chest just for you.
I know. He didn't actually wax, I think. Maybe he did. I don't know. But
What, is he furry?
maybe a little bit. I don't actually recall. Definitely the soda can ab guy waxed. 100% waxed. He's probably been waxed for 15 years. So then he's very upset. I think the unsaid thing is, how dare you do your career? She then tells her sister how she cared for him so much, and she doesn't know that she'll be able to tell him that, and then she leaves. But he overhears it because he's fixing something. And my notes for that were hot man sad, which could be the title of the summary of a lot of movies. That could just be the synopsis of many movies, just hot man sad. Basically, they are doing the show, And it's his literal part to come out and just do like a little, all he has to do is like shake his hips in front of people. And he literally looks so sad. He's too sad to dance. He says, stop the music. Like, he's too sad to dance. Can't do it.
This one so well.
He's just like, oh. And then she walks in. She sees her, and then he gets his horny back, and he starts dancing, and then they have a good old time, and everything's great. Then, show ends like usual, everyone claps. She goes to him in front of the stage, so they're kind of basically standing on the stage, tells him she cares for him. They make up, and they make out, and nobody's paying attention. Everybody's just having a drink, not caring. No problem. People were happy. They got their 3 minutes. Don't need to watch a shirtless hot guy make out with a girl in front of them. It's fine.
Gotcha. Even though they're up on a stage.
Yeah, they're literally like standing in front of a stage.
People are like, let's give them their privacy on the stage.
Yeah, everyone's like, no, we got shirtless. We don't need any more. We need to give this man his intimate relationship moment.
Uh-huh. That's better than when they all applaud.
No, they didn't do it, which I approve. I don't like public making out. That feels weird with like everyone's. That's weird. I'm glad they skipped that part.
Yeah.
The next day, all the dancer men are invited with her family to have a Christmas dinner. So their thing of getting to be shirtless for all this time is they're finally allowed to eat carbs.
Ah.
They actually have a large Christmas dinner.
That's what they're paid in, is the Christmas dinner.
They're like, here you are. You get to eat carbs today. She then invites the owner that day to like pick up the check of the $30,000. She invites her on Christmas to come pick up a check. And then she says, you come stay. You're like family. And then everything's great. She gets a new start with the people she loves. The end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I was good.
Oh, yeah. This is the best you've ever done.
Yeah. We've got segments now to talk about this romance.
Mm-hmm.
The next day. What's going to happen the next day after they get together?
She has torpedoed her career because she told that agent, the woman at the Rockettes, that she would go, and then she cancels last minute. She's basically burned bridges with her entire professional life there, which is big.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. That is not a great way to restart your career. But she's basically learned that she does seem to like teaching and things like that. So I guess she'll still have her name that she was a Rockette, and she will still maybe like start some dance teaching studio, let's say, in the town. So she's going to do something else. That's what I think she'll do with her new career.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're dating. They're just going to date and they're going to make out.
All right. Will they make it? What do you think?
They're pretty bland.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, sure. I don't know. Why not? I would say there's no reason why they wouldn't, but you might be a little bit bored watching them hang out anymore if the movie kept running.
That's true of a lot of rom-coms, right?
It is very true. These are not the most interesting people to watch, I have to say.
Like, yeah, what if every rom-com had a movie the same length at the end that was just their life with nothing happening? It would probably be sweet, but boring.
Some couples, I feel like I could just keep watching and enjoying.
Ooh, like what?
I can't think of them, but I've thought of them. I would just been like, I would like to watch you guys together and happy. Like, I would say a lot of the TV couples, I would just like to see them together and happy, like, of them existing.
Like sort of Luke and Lorelai, maybe? Like they have good banter?
You mean like people actually being happy and together and not breaking up every 3 minutes? That would be really nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think they'll make it because they're friendly and they're kind of bland?
They're attractive, friendly. She really loves living there. He loves living there. He's supportive. She wants to probably make a studio. He's a handyman. He's helpful. And also they both really want to be in the town.
Did he come from the big city?
He came from the big city. He did. So I don't know why he's so anti-city girl. Like, damn, people.
Okay, next segment. It's called Ooh versus Ew.
Yeah, like ooh versus ew.
Yes, and this is about the wooing tactics that they use to entice the other one, to seduce or appeal to the other one. What do you think?
So, things that he does for wooing that he's like, ooh, he helps repair things. He gives her a jewelry, which is a little weird to give a wreath. A wreath necklace, a little weird, but okay. That's nice. He cares about her parents. He's literally dancing for free in a show to help them.
Mm-hmm.
All good things. Good things she does to woo him is she helps him through a panic attack that he has before he starts stripping. You know, the usual pre-strip panic attack that every guy has the first time?
Right. We've all been through it.
Yeah, she helps him. She says, look for a friendly face and use that. And she is his friendly face. That is why he now can't dance without her.
That's sweet.
Yeah. He comes on a little strong in that, like, he buys her a necklace pretty early, and he's like, I'm so happy you've come into my life. That's a little ew for me, but I don't know. I guess that could be sweet.
Okay. Sounds good. Does she make an overt move on him, or is it all him driving it?
So they have a lot of things that bring them together, because I think one of the thing about having a hot handyman is they can show up anytime and be around for many situations and be very helpful.
There's a lot of handyman in these movies.
A lot of handyman. Because I was like, what's up with the hot handyman? But it's very plot convenient. So he's like under a table overhearing things. He's fixing things. They're close together. It conveniently makes them hot. So
did they do any grouting together?
They slow dance. They're standing in his workshop, and he says he hears his radio on, and he's like, do you want to dance? And they dance, and they do a slow dance, and that is pretty hot for wooing. That is very, ooh. I mean,
yeah.
In real life, it might be weird if a guy's like, do you want to dance in the middle of my workshop? But it worked. It worked. It was hot. It was hot, and then they kissed. So, yes, that was working. She shows him initially how to dance. Also kind of hot. They get close. So, you know, they got some wooing. Is like, I will show you to dance. We get all close.
There's a little dirty dancing to it.
Yes.
Next segment, the story of us. So this is for each of them, just regarding compatibility of gender.
Yep.
What would it be like for you to date them?
I would say guy, fairly bland, but sure, let's do a weekend fling. That's fine. I'm a city girl. He obviously has a thing against city girls, so strike one against me.
Do you think you're a city girl, like in these movies? Are you always talking on your cell phone?
Yes, I'm not going to leave
on a treadmill.
My job to be in a small town, and that makes me evil.
That makes you, you're going to be pushed aside by some other country gal.
Yeah, I like Christmas, though, but I'm not willing to leave to be like a bakery apprentice, so.
Okay, what about her?
She's pretty bland, and no, I would just find her slightly annoying. She's nothing too wrong with her. You could handle one date with her. I think she'd just be like perky happy. I think you could handle a date with her, and, you know, maybe she'd teach you how to dance. I don't know how your dancing skills are, but she could teach you. It might be kind of hot when she's teaching you.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
And then he could fix your stuff. I mean, that would benefit. You'd have a benefit from one date with each of these.
You're trying to set me up now with these characters.
Yes. I mean, you could have definitely one date with each of these people, because they could teach you how to dance, fix your stuff. That's not a bad day.
I'm totally up for it. Maybe it's not long term, but it's fun. Well, it's time for the segment that everyone's waiting for, the Endorphin Report.
Endorphin Report.
Endorphin Report.
So, endorphins, slow dancing together when she teaches him. Endorphins. Then, again, slow dancing in his workshop, pulls her in, they kiss. Endorphins. Other bits of it are kind of fine. When they're talking, things are fine. It's nice. It's just kind of very minimal, mild, superficial, light dressing on the side endorphins. You know, like you have dressing on the side and you do a little tap, like a micro tap of your salad into the dressing. That's like the minimal spike of endorphins I got.
Wait, a micro tap of your salad? What?
Yes. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
We were just talking about, instead of like major sprinkles throughout other parts of the film, micro side salad tap of sprinkles. Women would get this. So yeah, it was fine. It was fine. It was very bland film, nothing too major, but yes, there were 2 points of a little bit more endorphin. I was not watching anything going, this is a total waste of my time of watching while I'm working out.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to this. Again, it's kind of a lost episode. We're going to produce these as we feel inspired to do them, but we appreciate you listening and commenting. Boy, Loading Ready Run fans are sure sweet people, eh?
They really are.
Yeah, we're big fans. I'm so proud of what my brother has built in this, and that it's fun to be able to reach people through that, whether deserved or not. But thanks for listening all this way.
They are like the best people on the internet, I have to say.
Yeah, it's a really weirdly, incredibly wholesome pocket of the internet.
I know. He has given me faith in humanity on the internet. Like, kind of hard to do right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So take care and talk to you later.
For the
Toodle-oodle.
Endorphin Report. The Endorphin Report.